I just wanted to talk a little bit about food shortages and stuff. I think just today you had a video coming out on the trucker strike. Is that right? Was that today?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. I've got a video clip I want to play here of this. It's just about the shortages and with the. I mean, we can go into the lockdowns wherever you guys want to go with this, but I think it's something that we really need to think about. Lisa and I have talked about it the last week, where you're leading into the holidays and everything, and they're not sure, how much stuff we're going to be able to get. Let me see if I can find this actual this clip here.
Week bare shelves and panic buying. Yep, it's deja vu, but this time it's different, or so we think. Here's business tech reporter Scott Budman.
As the Imperial family loads up their car, they say they're lucky they shopped in the morning.
Hand sanitizer, soap, dish cleaning.
Half an hour later, same San Jose Target.
There's less like paper towels though, and toilet paper.
And the paper goods aisle looked like this.
For right now, Target's completely wiped out. There's nothing left in there.
It shouldn't be the type of problem that we had in the spring.
But even while some stores like this Almaden area Costco are back to putting up signs warning of shortages and limiting how much you can buy, one business professor says the aisles should not stay bare for too long.
It shouldn't be as bad as it was in the spring. Yet all the paper products, it's almost like an instant replay of what happened. People buying toilet paper.
We all agree that we were not going to do this again.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, people just don't get it. But and what's funny is Lisa goes to the store and she'll come back and she'll tell me that all the paper products are gone, stuff like that. The freezer sections are not gone, but kind of torn down a little bit, not as stocked as they could be. But the fresh foods and all that, that it's their galore. You get whatever you want.
Yeah.
And I think it's I don't know if this trucker strike type thing happens. And you mentioned in your video that you'll have to go into this. You weren't sure exactly what companies or what kind of supply lines those were going to affect. But if something like that were to happen and people couldn't get their food, holy crap. I mean, we think about it now where everybody's kind of cordial with having to wear the masks and stay at home and all that. You do this lockdown and the only place they can go is Walmart, but when they go to Walmart, there's nothing there. See how that flies.
Right. Yeah. If it ever comes to like a national lockdown or something, I'm more curious what exactly they're going to allow open to stay open. I mean, before it was, Walmart and like the big chains and stuff, but even a lot of big chains, non-essential, whatever they deem as essential will remain open. But is it like going to be like all grocery stores or Walmart? Like what's because they don't want people essentially going out with this lockdown at all, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's going to be really interesting. It's like they just said, it's a replay of March again. And to look at people go, you didn't, it just drives me nuts as a prepper, I guess. It's like, you didn't, over the last 9 months, there's been toilet paper in the stores. And literally you didn't think to get your toilet paper squared away, and if you've gone into the stores over the last 9 months, I've talked about it a few times. A lot of products were never more than one deep on the counter. Like if you looked down the side of the aisle behind it and there's like nothing, it's just one thing. And they tried to make it look full, but they've been missing stuff all year. And I think people might be in for a really rude awakening come, December and January. February.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's so funny you mentioned that they're trying to make things look full. The other day I saw it was like it was the baking aisle and it was a whole bunch of sugar. And normally the flour is like right next to the sugar, right? It was just a whole bunch of sugar and it looked okay, whatever. And then I was like, well, where's the flour? Is the flour out again? And so it wasn't completely out. They had a whole bunch of sugar and then they had a section of just random baking stuff and then just a section for flour. And so they were definitely short on flour, but it didn't look like a shortage because of how they had restocked it. And now this was something else that I got a confirmation that another Walmart did this in like Idaho or something. Somebody had messaged me and they were like, there was no toilet paper, but they had put all of the Christmas stuff where the toilet paper was. And they had asked them, they were like, oh, where's all the toilet paper? And they're like, oh, I don't know. This is just Christmas stuff, whatever. And so yeah, I mean, they're trying to make it look like, no, there are no shortages. Everything's fine, when they can, I think, I don't think they can sustain that, but
yeah, well, it's going to be interesting because I think as everybody heads indoors, we're going to hit the, people are going to get together for Thanksgiving. They're going to share their turkey. They're going to have family and friends over. They're going to do that. So I saw a video or a picture earlier of, and I was waiting to confirm if it was now. And I believe it is. I was told it is now. And they're showing lines at airports. People are wearing their masks, but they're all nut to butt in the airport, hanging out, starting to line up for Thanksgiving. I guess they've all been waiting on these travel plans for after the pandemic was over. And literally, we're going to be hitting the high point of whatever they have with the numbers coming up here in a few weeks. And man, going into Christmas with the supply shortages that they have now, and a trucker strike, and the numbers going up, and lockdowns, and I don't see that toilet paper. So I just put up in the group chat there. There's has 13,000 good reviews on Amazon, a bidet that's not electric. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how it works, but it cleans your butt. So
we actually got one. That was one thing we didn't have before.
Nice.
I think it was I think it's the travel. I don't know what you linked, but probably similar, non-electric travel bidet. You just kind of squeeze or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the well pump, right? Instead of having to store 200,000 gallons of water, get a well. Instead of having to wipe your ass, you get a bidet.
There you go.
What is that one that Jane Austen has, the Heine hydrant or something like that, where she made one out of, yeah, it's hilarious. It works. I'm sure it works though. It's basically, those little pump things where you can spray your weeds or whatever with the chemicals.
Oh, yeah.
So it's at like 2 gallons. And basically, you get the idea. I mean, I don't have to.
Hey, all these people that are running out of toilet paper here soon.
Yeah.
But, if you don't have any food, your toilet paper is going to be kind of useless. So,
Oh, yeah, right.
You see a bunch of people just running around, dragging their asses on the front line like the dogs do.
They need to go get their anal glands expressed.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
All right. So before we get out of here, I wanted to kind of expand on that just a little bit and talk about my concern is, yes, the shortages and all of that, but with these lockdowns, which seem like, depending on where you live, is almost inevitable. In where Brian is right now, it's. I think they're already doing it. I think there's curfews and all sorts of crap. Out here where we are, Polis is a little bit more hesitant to start doing that, but you can tell he's about ready to pull the trigger. But my concern with all of this, even though the WHO and all these people have said that lockdowns don't work, that the last time we did these lockdowns, we're still in this situation. So what's to say that the next one's going to work? And I know their whole thing is the overwhelming the hospitals and all of that, but I have a really big concern about how this is, maybe the vaccine does come and it works. I'm not getting it personally, but maybe it does come and maybe it works. But what does this look like in 2 years after we're post-COVID? Or even if we are, maybe COVID turns into something like the flu. It's already mutated a couple times. Mm-hmm. What does all of this look like after we've totally destroyed ourselves? Kind of that spite the face or cut off the nose to spite the face, whatever the hell that saying is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my concern, is the economy. I don't know. Maybe because I whine about the economy all the time. So maybe I'm just a little worried about it. And then with you being kind of out in the military, out in the middle of nowhere, I don't know that you're concerned as much as, I'm sure you are, but being able to kind of sustain yourself a little better. I don't know that it probably wouldn't affect you as much, but it just depends. I don't know. I'm concerned about it.
Yeah, no, it definitely affects us too. We're seeing shortages where we are as well. The shortages are going to affect everyone. And with a national lockdown, like you were saying with the economy, it would have drastic effect. I mean, first of all, if you're having a national lockdown and they're making sure that only essential workers go, you have to pay people to stay home. You have to. There is no way around it, because people have bills, and it's not this, $1,500, $1,200 or whatever the heck it was. It's not that, because that, for some people, especially like in California, that'll barely cover a quarter of their rent or whatever, like it's not feasible. So you have to pay people to stay home for however long. They're talking about, at least 4 to 6 weeks. That's what I've been hearing. And so you have to pay people to stay home. So then businesses are not open. So they aren't open to make money. Okay. And so big or small, medium, whatever, they are not making money. And so then you have just the general government just churning out money to pay people to stay home. So what is this going to look like after that 4 to 6 weeks that we finally come out of this? I mean, who's going to have jobs available? Who is going to keep you in your home? Because how long do you have to sustain paying people to stay home or paying people to then go find a job? How are you stimulating the economy again in order to get people back to work? I mean, this is an astronomical thing that they're asking.
Yeah.
To do.
Yeah, they even like the banks that have helped people with their mortgages and stuff like that. They've given them three months off and stuff like that. Are they going to do that again? People that are maybe they own homes. I think Brian has a couple that he rents out. They expect that income. Those people can't pay rent. What do you boot those people? Because you're not going to be able to fill their seat with anybody. And plus, just the that's kind of a shitty thing to do in a situation like this, but it's all of that different stuff.
It was done at the beginning of this pandemic. People were being evicted left and right.
Yeah, I have some rentals down in Georgia, and I have people that my property manager called, and she's like, "Hey, they're not working right now. What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to talk. What am I going to do? Toss them out like right now when the banks have put mortgage loans off now if you want for up to 9 months." At some point, the banks are going to want their money back, man. And like you were saying, Morgan, it's what's the status in that? And then it comes back around to the landlords too, because again, that money's not coming in. I have a place that I want to sell because it's been underwater since the 2007. I bought literally like 3 months before the market crashed in 2007, and so it just now kind of got up to where I could pay it off if I sell it, and I don't have to come up with any money out of my pocket. I'm having a tough time getting the tenants out now.
Yeah.
Like I've offered help, worked and all that. So there's like everybody's kind of getting nailed everywhere you look on this thing. And I just think right now that with the economy, like you mentioned, Morgan, with the amount of money they have been printing, and it's just a travesty that they bailed out Wall Street and all these big corporations with working people's money basically, and the working people aren't they're not getting, and I wish we didn't have to do that, but they're not getting money to inject back in the system. And I don't have a whole lot of faith that they're gonna, like LA's waiting for a bailout. That's why I think a lot of these cities out west, they're just running around like a bunch of drunken monkeys right now, doing stupid stuff, closing businesses here in the little section I live in. Every week, if not every day, you see business closing. I don't know what that really looks like. I think it kind of seems like everybody's just sort of right now pretending like everything's okay and going, okay, we'll lock down, we'll come out, and it'll be this all unicorn farts and pixie dust out there. And I don't know. I have no idea what it's going to look like.
I don't understand how. I mean, people want everything to just be back to normal, and look, I get it. This is not a reality that I think anybody wants to live in. I think that other things can be done besides a lockdown, but with the 2 weeks to flatten the curve is now turning into, a couple months, or more, depending on, it's no longer to flatten the curve. It's to stop it. It's to literally stop it, or to get the vaccine into everybody, a mandatory vaccine, or to just, whatever their plan is, it's to stop it one way or another. So that is the ultimate plan. And I have no idea how they expect us to come out of this. I literally don't get it.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't seem like they're really, I mean, they say the plan, right? Like, and like you said, that this is their plan. I think it's more like they've told us, they're kind of insinuating without really saying what the goal is. And then nowhere have I really seen, lockdown. Okay, well, what does that look like? What's your idea? Because I was reading in a local Facebook group out here in LA, just because they were talking about the lockdowns again. Because I think they're talking about, the governor's talking about doing a full lockdown again here in the next couple of days. And I know they're in LA County, they're doing curfews and stuff like that. But a lady in the Facebook group goes, well, if everybody just get on the same page and let's just lock down for like 4 weeks, it would go away. And I'm kind of like, did I just is this good? Or did we go back to March? Am I hearing the same thing again from March? That it'll just go away. And I'm like, first of all, COVID's never gone away.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's here forever.
Yep.
And, whether they come up with a vaccine, however it works, we're going to have to deal with it. And, it's the high risk stuff and all that. But yeah, I don't see plans. I don't know, this is probably the first time in my life outside of a really crummy deployment in Pakistan that I've ever just really had I don't know what the hell is going to happen tomorrow kind of thing. Like, it's really hard to even, kind of like, it's weird. Just trying to think about well, what kind of plans do I need to make? And you're kind of like, I don't know which way this is going. Like, what do you want to do right now?